What's going on, everybody? This is Al from NCAA 06 Revival, and today I want to talk to you about a new file I created that came from a conversation I had with another gamer who likes to play locally, who's blessed enough to have a bunch of buddies who enjoy playing 06 along with him. And what came from that was a file that I created that breaks down every single formation in every playbook in the game. Now, I'm always a big component of creating your own playbook. It just makes sense if you want to go that route. But if you don't want to do that, I understand why you would want to know which teams have which formations in them. And this file has a lot of good stuff in it. Hopefully you'll be able to get something out of it. So with this video, I want to break down all that you can do with this. Hopefully you can get some information out of it that you can use on your end. Okay. At the bottom left, you'll see there are two sheets to this file. We'll start with the formations sheet. It's just one big huge matrix. At the very top, you can see it has all the formations in the game. There are 60 of them. At the very top, this is a count. This tells you, for example, for ace, 4 wide receiver trips, and we'll zoom in here. This shows you how many playbooks contain this formation. So there are 17 playbooks that have ace 4 wide receiver trips, and so on and so forth. Now this could be pretty useful if you kind of want to know which formations are the most popular in the game, least popular, and I will show you a little bit later on how this could be very useful. The next row is personnel groupings. If you don't know what these are, you've heard me talk about these a lot throughout my videos. It's a 2-digit numbering system. Everybody in football uses it. The first digit tells you how many running backs are in the backfield. And the last digit is how many tight ends. Well, for ace 4 wide receiver trips, we only have one running back and no tight ends. That makes it a 10 personnel formation. Another example, ace twins. In ace twins, there is one running back and 2 tight ends, and so on and so forth. And in the other sheet, I'll show you how you can take full advantage of that as well. And right below that, we have all the formations. And over to the far left, we have every single team playbook in the game. And right beside, we have the conferences. Now, I'll scroll down here. And you'll also have all 6 generic playbooks in here as well. Okay, so let's zoom back out a little bit. Get it down where you can see pretty much all of it. Okay. And I basically just put an X beside every single formation that is in for that particular team playbook. There are exactly 9 formations in every playbook, so it's pretty simple. Also, I don't know if you know this or not, but every team that has, for example, gun spread has the exact same 18 plays of gun spread. So there's no wondering if one team has one play that another team doesn't, but they have the same formation. We don't have none of that in 06, which simplifies things for us. Okay, now let's get to the fun part. I'm going to show you some of the cool filtering tricks I like to use that you can really narrow down your choices of what you want to do. Okay, let's zoom this back in so everybody can see this a little bit better. Okay, you see these little down arrows down here below every single formation. That's a filter in Excel. So humor me a little bit if you're not very familiar with Excel. But what you can do here is just narrow down your choices. Okay. Now, if you like a particular formation, this is your way to narrow down the playbooks pretty easily, okay? One thing we can start off with is, okay, let's pretend. Let's say I really want to find a playbook that has gun normal, okay? Let's go to gun normal right here, okay? We can hit the down arrow button, and this gives us a few options. I want it to tell me only the playbooks that have gun normal. So the easiest way to do that, you see these 3 checks down here. The easiest thing to do is just to uncheck the blanks, and you click OK, and boom, it gives you, and I'll zoom back out a little bit here, there are actually 63 playbooks in the game that have gun normal. So it's going to be a really long list. Okay, but at least it narrowed it down. Okay, so now let's say maybe I want I twins in my playbook. Okay, now we can go over to I twins. We can hit the down arrow button. We can uncheck the blanks. That way it always shows the ones with the X's. And boom, now we're really getting somewhere. Now it's narrowed down to 15 total. You see down here at the very bottom left, you'll see a number count. of how many things are listed. In this case, we got 15 playbooks listed. Now maybe I want to narrow it down to Ace Bunch. I really want that in my playbook. So we can go down here, we can uncheck blanks, click OK, and boom. Now we are down to 3 playbooks. And from here, you can get more technical, so on and so forth. You can kind of see how I've done that, which is pretty cool how you can go about doing this. It makes it a whole lot easier, especially if you got 4 or 5 formations that you just love to use in your particular offense. You can narrow it down this way. Now, with all of these filters added in, the easiest way to unfilter everything is you go up to the very top. You see all these headings right here. You click on Data, and we got some filter headings right here. You can click Clear. Boom, it goes back to your main set. Okay. Now we could do another quick example. Maybe I want to start off with, I don't know, Pro Normal. And the reason why I want to select that is because we'll go back up to the total count. You can use a little common sense here. If there's a particular formation that you like, you can look at the total count and see how many of them there are. It's in your best interest. You can make things a little bit quicker if you pick a formation that's not very popular in the game. Pro Normal, there's only 6 playbooks that has this formation. So we can start with that one. Boom, it already saves you a few steps. And then you can go off to say, okay, I want gun trips over my formation. So we can narrow that down to boom. Now we're just down to 2 playbooks, Akron Zips and the Pitt Panthers playbook, and so on and so forth. Okay, we'll get back out of that. So that's pretty handy to have. Say you want to compare teams. I got a filter for the teams. You see right here, you can click the down arrow of the teams, and all the teams are currently checked. What you can do is you can uncheck, select all, and it unchecks everything. Say I want to compare the Arkansas Razorbacks playbook and Florida Internationals playbook and the Oregon Ducks. You click OK, and boom, it just shows you those 3 playbooks. Pretty cool. We can go back up here. I have a shortcut for the clear filter. Okay, now say you are going to start a tournament with some of your buddies, and maybe you want to have a house rule of, hey, let's only select playbooks from the Southeastern Conference. Well, that's where the conference filter comes in. So you just go to the conference column, hit the down arrow, and uncheck everything, and just select the Southeastern Conference ones. We got the East and the West. Click OK, and boom, there's all 12 of them right there. Should be pretty handy for you. Now remember, this is 2005 season conference. Missouri and Texas A&M aren't in here. They're still in the Big 12. But you get the point. Okay? So this is a pretty good sheet that could be very useful. Now, we can go over to the Teams tab. This is the exact same information as what's on the Formations tab, but everything's in reverse or transposed. At the very top, we have our teams and the conferences. And on the left, in rows, we have all the formations. Now, here's where it gets pretty cool. Say you just want to look at a particular playbook for a team. Okay, we can zoom this in a little bit. Okay, say I want to look at Iowa State's playbook. The quickest way to doing that, instead of just going back and forth and looking at all the X's and scrolling up, that can get kind of straining. So what you can do is you can go to Iowa State's playbook. You can go hit the down arrow, and as usual, just uncheck the blanks. That way it always shows you the X's. And boom, those are the 9 formations in that playbook. So that's a nice quick way to look up a particular playbook for a team. Okay, and we'll unfilter that. Now what we can do is something that's been probably going to be really useful for me out of the gate is we can filter the total and the personnel columns over here on the far left. Here's the total column. What we can do here is we can select or sort what are our most popular formations in this entire game. Okay, so you can go up here to sort smallest to largest or largest to smallest. Let's go ahead and click largest to smallest. And boom, it tells us our most popular formation. Gun spread at 79 are in 79 playbooks, a slot in 75 of them, and so on and so forth. So if you wanted to create the most popular generic playbook in the game, you can go with these 9 sets right here. Okay, or you can go back and do smallest to largest. Say you want to get real creative and go with some rarities here. We got a handful of formations that are just in one playbook. We got some that are just in two of the playbooks. So again, that's pretty nifty to have. And when you sort a column, the easiest way to get back to what you're normally doing is the original setup was the formations was in alphabetical order. You can go back up to just sort A to Z on the formations, and boom, you're back to where you were. Okay. Now here's probably my favorite filter of the bunch is the personnel filter. Say you are a big personnel guy. Maybe you want to create a playbook that has nothing but 11 personnel formations. Well, there's 60 formations in the game, but you can't remember which ones are exactly your 11 personnel sets. So let Excel do all the work for you. So we can hit the down arrow on the personnel column, and there are all of our personnel sets. So we can uncheck, select all, and say I want to go with all of the 11 personnel sets in the game. Click OK, and boom, there they are. There's always 6 of them. And then what you can do from here is you can kind of scroll and kind of see which playbook, which team really likes the 11 personnel sets. I can tell Missouri has 5 of the 6 in there. That kind of gives you a rough idea of what they like to do personnel-wise, and so on and so forth. So that's pretty cool. Maybe I want to switch it over to the 10 personnel set. Okay. We can just do the 10. Okay, I thought this was pretty neat. I remember this from in the past, but Hawaii has 8 of the 9 10 wide sets, which is pretty cool. Now, Ace Empty, I may get a question about this. Ace Empty is actually a 10 personnel set. The default setup is where your halfback is right beside your right tackle. So that's why I had to put it as a 10 personnel. But either way, that's pretty cool to look up that way. Okay, now we can unfilter all of that. And another thing, you can stack on these personnel sets. Say you can go with like the the fast break offense is a good example from the 90s at Florida State. Back when Charlie Ward was running, all that stuff. They were big on 3 personnel sets. They loved their 20 personnel, 21, and 10 personnel sets. So I can check all 3, and boom, the game gives me, or this file gives me, every single one of them. And apparently there are 29 of those 3. And then from here you can go on and select kind of what you want to do, But at least that kind of gives you a rough idea. So this could be very useful for people who don't necessarily want to use a team playbook, but at least you can narrow down by personnel sets without having to think too much or having to scroll through the plays or the formations yourself while in the game. Okay? That's kind of all there is to it. Let's go over to the website. Here we go. I have put this file over under the team info. You hover over team info and you click on playbooks. And here's just a brief description of what the download file, or what the file can do for you and all that good stuff. You click on download. It should be a simple download. I mean, the entire file is like 60 kilobytes or something. There's not much to it. Now, I'm going to post this video below the download link. That way, you'll have instructions. I mean, I could type all that out, but there's no point when you can just watch a video. Okay? Well, that's it. Hopefully this file could be useful for you in one way or another. I know I'll look at it periodically. I know a bunch of people will look at it who like to compete locally, who just like to go through the playbooks and kind of see what teams like to do. Okay? All right. Thank you all, and I'm out of here.